In today's episode, we're reading some more terrifying but also fun Reddit stories, and I hope you're excited. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you like and subscribe if you want to, and let's get straight into it. Enjoy, guys. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that she's ruining her child's life with an iPad? My sister, 36 female, and her husband have a 10-year-old kid, who for the purposes of this post is called Jimothy, who me and my husband sometimes babysit on the weekends, and on some days I take him to school. As of about a year ago, we started to notice that Jimothy was beginning to develop an American accent, where Australian. Small kids have faces, so I didn't want to make it a thing. Over the next few months, the accent got thicker and Jimothy became more irritable. Me and my husband brought this up with my sister, who said that Jimothy wasn't very grumpy when with her. He then started losing interest in almost all activities that he used to enjoy. Again, this was a concern for me. Every weekend it got worse. He would complain of being bored, but when we offered an exhaustive list of all things that we could do with him, he said no to every single one. The school year of 2024 started, and on the weekend after that, Jimothy told us that his teacher and a few classmates had asked him how long he'd been in the oh no! Asked him how long he'd been in the US before moving to Australia. At this point, his American accent was indistinguishable from a general American accent. My husband and I were really wondering what was happening. Then it was Jimothy's birthday party. His family was invited, including me, and so were all of his friends. This was the moment that made me realize to some extent what was going on. He was on an iPad scrolling some kind of short form content that I didn't recognize. His friends wanted to play with him and he just didn't even notice they were there. Oh no. People were giving him presents and he was acted like he was inconvenienced for having to turn off the iPad. Never before had any of my nieces or nephews reacted like this upon me giving them money and delicious treats. I told my sister something was going on, and that Jimothy is obviously not in a good way. She seemed offended that I was questioning her parenting choices, as she put it, and she decided that me and my husband babysitting Jimothy had to stop. It's not your fault, OP. The next time I saw Jimothy was very recently, at my niece's birthday party, different parents. Jimothy was completely glued to the iPad. He was noticeably skinnier, which I suspect was because he was forgetting to eat in favor of iPad time, and when anybody went over to talk to him, he would almost instinctively push the screen towards his body, so nobody could see. Oh my god, this is heartbreaking. That's so sad. I had to talk to my sister and her husband. I told them what I thought, that a year ago Jimothy was an energetic child who got along really well with everybody, and now he's reclusive and it's obvious from just looking at him that he's skipping meals. My sister denied any changes in his behavior, but her husband did admit that I was right to some extent, and Jimothy's friends had stopped trying to hang out with him because he said no 100% of the time. I told my sister she was wrecking Jimothy's life by continuing to let this iPad stuff happen. She started shouting at me, and I walked out of the party. No, you're not the a-hole, OP. That's so sad. And also, is it an insecurity on your sister's part, or like her ego or something? She's taking what you're saying, OP, as a personal attack on her, instead of thinking about what's right for her son. Oh, that's so bad. Yeah, this comment, not the a-hole, the accent thing is normal. Plenty of people complain about kids suddenly speaking with an English, like Peppa Pig or Aussie Bluey accent, but the weight loss and the behavior change, that can be an indicator that something serious is going on. Yeah, I was gonna say, I've definitely heard of the accent thing. This comment says him immersing himself in the iPad isn't the cause, it's the consequence. It's the tip of the iceberg. My kids love their screens, but they also want to play board games and go cycling in the forest nearby or jump in the pool. There's got to be something else. There's something causing this kid to focus solely on his iPad. You are right to have a concern. If you're truly concerned and your sister keeps a blind eye to the situation, you may want to call the social service. It'll hurt your relationship with your family, but better than letting this kid continue to suffer, because he definitely is suffering, not the a-hole. Also this comment, sorry, Jimothy though? Laughing emojis. Yeah, that's 2 names. This comment says, not the a-hole. I don't know what's actually going on here, but I think this kid needs some professional help. The whole family, really. Yeah, for sure, there's definitely something going on. But no, you're not the a-hole for showing concern, OP. The next one's called, am I the a-hole for secretly cheating on our vegetarian diet that my wife made our family do? I want to start by saying that I, 38 male, love my family and my wife, 35 female, and I've never been the type to do anything like this before. 12 months ago, my wife converted to a new religion, which included her giving up eating meat. The whole family, me and our 2 young boys, were supportive of this, and we held a vegetarian-only dinner that night as a little sign of support. Life continues for another 8 months basically unchanged. The boys and I eat meat and my wife doesn't. However, things start to change around that 8 to 10 month mark. I can't remember exactly. Basically, along with not eating meat, my wife no longer wants to be around it. This wasn't the only thing. Things continued to progress. Basically, my wife started to replace things in the house with substitutes. First, the pork in the house was swapped out for jackfruit, eggs were swapped out for substitutes that are like egg, shirts were only bought from clean brands like plant-based clothing, and deodorants were swapped out for deodorant pills like Go Scentless. You get the idea. To say all this was creating a rift would be an understatement, and eventually I brought up to our wife that again, while we 100% support her in her decisions around these things, I didn't think it should change things for me and the boys, unless of course they wanted it. My wife argued that her values have changed and that being around some of this stuff was really hard for her, and she wanted us to support her. For the next 2 to 3 months, the house was a place of pretty high tension. It had gotten so bad that the boys have friends bringing them meat from their houses, since it was now completely gone from ours. Anyway, about a week ago, my wife went away on a few day-long business trip, meaning that I was watching the boys Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Basically, and I'm a bit ashamed to type this out, but the boys and I mainly ate meat, basically every chance we got. This was all fine and dandy, the boys and I had a great time, until my wife returned home, and it somehow slipped out what we'd done. I've never seen her so disappointed in us. After putting the boys to bed, we argued for hours about how I was setting a poor example for the boys, that I should respect the decisions made by my wife, even if they are tough and inconvenient. It's hard to argue back because I can see her side, but it boils down simply to I don't want to be vegetarian or vegan, and neither do the boys. Am I the a-hole? No, you're not the a-hole, OP. Like this comment says, not the a-hole. Your wife is the a-hole for forcing her family to follow the same beliefs as she does. You can't control what other people do around you. This should be a unanimous decision between the two of you, and your kids are old enough to choose for themselves. This one says, it's funny how you haven't told her to stop her eating choices, but she's quick to tell you to stop yours. Your wife is manipulating your good guy nature to guilt you into a choice that you didn't make. She's 100% wrong for that. You need to take a harder stance and let her know that the support that she wants comes with a cost. Her forcing her choice on all of you will result in respect being lost. In the end, people can't live unhappy. They'll remove what makes them unhappy at some point. Yeah, 100%. And also this one, not the a-hole at all. She shouldn't force her beliefs onto others. Not to mention that she converted after married, so it's not like you signed up for this. Yeah, completely agree. I don't feel like you're in the wrong, OP. And yeah, of course, there's nothing wrong with her doing it, but she can't expect all of you guys to do it too. Yeah, and also this comment, so she just gets to decide what everybody consumes and wears and uses for personal hygiene? No, that's ridiculous and unreasonable. Not the a-hole. But what religion is this? Pushing your personal religious expectations onto other people who want nothing to do with your religion, which is what your wife is doing, is by definition an a-hole move and unacceptable behavior. Yeah, that's not cool, and you're not the a-hole, OP. Wow, the next one. Am I wrong for asking my girlfriend to shower? At the weekend, my girlfriend had been out all day. When she got home, she was sweaty as it was hot outside. We were sat watching TV and she started to initiate horizontal mumbo. She asked me if I was in the mood and asked if I would go downtown on her. I said I was, but I asked if she would have a shower first. She asked me why, and I mentioned the odor of the sweat that I could smell, and mentioned that the odor would make going downtown on her quite unpleasant. This was not what I was expecting to read. She got annoyed and denied that she was sweaty, and denied there was an odor, but I disagreed. She said that she wasn't in the mood anymore, and went into the bedroom. Later in the night, she said that I hurt her feelings, and I shouldn't have asked her to shower. I pointed out that I only asked to make sure the experience was pleasant for both of us, as it would not have been nice for me. She just said again that I was saying that I didn't like how she smelled, and that she smelled bad down there. I told her not to start twisting my words, but she denied that's what she was doing. Am I wrong for asking her to shower first? No, I don't think so. I also don't really understand why it became an issue. Did you say it super rudely or something, OP? There's a comment that says, not the a-hole, but maybe suggesting you both shower together first would have spared her the embarrassment, and it's fun. Yeah, I don't really understand why it became an issue, unless you were like, yo, you stink. But it doesn't sound like you said it in a rude sort of way, OP. This one says you're not wrong. We know it smells strongly when sweaty or long between showers. She wouldn't want to go downtown on you if you smelled a lot, right? Hygiene is incredibly important for most when it comes to horizontal mumbo. Yeah, from the sound of it, she was embarrassed and then got defensive about it. Or you said it in a way that you shouldn't have said it, OP. But yeah, that never really should have became an issue. Don't feel like you're in the wrong, OP. The next one is called, am I the gay hoe for telling my 23 female boyfriend 24 that it's his fault if he misses our flight and that I'll continue without him? My boyfriend and I planned a trip for the end of the summer months ago. Last night we were still trying to decide how we'd get to the airport. When my mum told me that she could take us before work, I told my boyfriend, who lives 30 minutes away from my house, to be at my house no later than 6 a.m. for my mum to drive us to the airport at 6:15. He promised that he'd be here around 5:45. This morning he was nowhere to be seen or heard from until around 6:20. He told me that his phone fell and he didn't hear it. By then my mum had to leave and take just me, or she'd be late to work. I told him that he should drive to the airport or get an Uber. His mum decides that she'll drive him an hour to the airport. Since it was too late for my mum to take us, he gets to the airport airport a little after me and I check in our bags. We get to the bag drop and he realizes that he doesn't have his ID. His wallet is at his house, which is about an hour from the airport. I tell him that I'm going to continue to TSA and I'll go to the gate. His mum is going back to get his wallet, which will obviously take a while. I tell him that I'm getting on the flight regardless and that if he misses it, then it's a result of his own mishaps. He then begins to ask me what to do if he does miss it. I tell him that he's an adult and should figure out a way to make it to our destination by contacting customer service. I planned everything for the trip, down to the flights and travel arrangements. I feel like at this point that I've done all I can do to ensure a successful and smooth trip, and I don't feel as if it's my responsibility to do damage control for him if he misses the flight. There's no refund for the Airbnb that we split the price for if we don't go. Am I the a-hole for continuing without him? There's a comment that says, so I have to know, did he make it or did you go without him? And OP said he rescheduled his flight. Yeah, no, I don't feel like you're the a-hole, OP. The top comment says, not the a-hole, boyfriend needs to grow up and act like an adult. You've done all the work up to this point. All he had to do was show up on time with the proper ID to make it through security, and he couldn't do that. He needed mum to bail him out. If he misses the flight, it's a good opportunity for him to learn about what consequences are and to sort out his own issues for himself. For OP, his reaction will tell you a lot about him. If he does miss the flight and has to figure things out for himself, does he get mad at you or pout? Or does he own up to his mistakes and accept responsibility and apologize for causing the issues? And OP said, I agree. First it was the not waking up on time, and then he couldn't even remember to double check for his wallet. I give him grace, but that's something I can't understand. There's a comment that says, is he like this in other aspects of life? Honestly, it sounds exhausting. If so, some alone time will help you gain some perspective. Enjoy your trip. And OP said he's often late, which is why I told him an earlier time specifically to avoid that. I called him endlessly and he didn't wake up until way after the time that we agreed upon. His mum had to go get him and wake him up. I told her that I was going to leave without him and she said he was up so late. So was I. I already told him that I was getting exhausted of planning everything and that I want him to begin to take some charge and responsibility. And then this happens. Thank you. Yeah, you're definitely not the a-hole, OP. That does sound exhausting. The next one's on the entitled people subreddit, but it's just a few dollars. I just witnessed quite possibly the most entitled interaction of my life. I, 40 female, was at my local convenience store talking to the owner's daughter. She needed help with homework and was asking everybody if they could help her understand it. Shakespeare isn't for everybody, but it is something I thoroughly enjoyed at school. I'm in there almost daily, so they know me. In walks this woman, probably around my age, and she begins gathering items and dumping them on the counter, completely disregarding other customers who were already at it. This goes on for a few minutes and then she goes to pay. At this point, the clerk is serving somebody else and this woman interrupts the transaction and states, my items are on the counter, so you shouldn't be serving anybody else, as I'm clearly waiting to be served. I always believed that in order to be served in a store, you had to physically be in a line or at the counter. Maybe I'm wrong. The man being served at the time smiled at this woman and says something along the lines of he's buying smokes and needs 30 seconds to complete his transaction and she can just wait. This led to much huffing and puffing from the woman. She then turns to me and says, can you believe the audacity of some people? I can't help but giggle before I reply, no, but I do really appreciate irony. She didn't get the joke. By now the guy's gone and the clerk is ringing up her items and putting them into bags. He finishes and tells her the total, which was $30 something. She tells him he will take $25 because that's all she has. He tells her that he will take $25 providing that she removes sufficient items to ensure that it covers her bill. Introduce her tantrum. Stage right. I need everything. You can't deprive me of my needs. Who do you think you are? I'm calling my husband. The clerk doesn't miss a beat and replies by saying, make sure he brings his wallet. Now, the kid and I have completely forgotten about Shakespeare and are enjoying the theatre production unfolding in front of us. Out comes her phone and she's scrolling furiously while repeating, just wait until he gets here. Again, the clerk doesn't miss a beat and says, I have no other choice but to wait. My shift doesn't end for another 3 hours. She literally stamps her feet while shouting, but it's only $10. I'm almost at the point of having to put my fist in my mouth to stifle my laugh. This woman calls her husband and puts the phone on speaker. He answers and she puts on this really pitiful whiny voice. Baby, I'm at the store and the clerk is holding me and 2 other females hostage. You need to come and rescue us. This guy must be all too familiar with his wife's antics and says, you can't really be held hostage and be allowed to use your phone. Okay, this can't be real. So either you didn't have enough money or you're trying to buy alcohol without ID. I didn't stifle the laughter and now this woman has 3 people openly laughing at her. She has to sheepishly admit that it was the former. Her husband then says, if you leave the chips, candy and soda behind that you don't need and that we have more than enough of in the house, I'm sure you'll have enough money. She started to protest and her husband uttered, I've told you about doing this crap. Say one more word and I'm cancelling your birthday. She stamped her foot again as she hung up and told the clerk to remove the suggested items, and then she does have enough to cover the bill. As she's about to leave, she actually asked that nobody post about this on Reddit. Sorry, but I feel like this didn't didn't happen. Like, I really hope it is real because that would have been so funny. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like it is. I was a little bit sus as soon as I read the owner's daughter in the convenience store doing Shakespeare homework and asking everybody else if they can help her understand it. That doesn't sound like it happened. I don't know. I might be wrong. I hope I am wrong. I feel bad every time I say that I feel like a post isn't real. Like, I'm sorry, OP, if it is real. But yeah, that's so funny if it is. The next one is called, Am I the a-hole for telling my brother it's his fault that he's a single dad? Am I the a-hole for telling my brother it's his fault that he's a single dad? I, 33 female, received a call from my brother trying to get help for the problems that he caused, and I wasn't gonna help. My brother, 44 male, cheated on my sister-in-law, 42 female, and I found out a week ago. To be honest, I've never thought that he would do something this dumb, but he did. After I heard what he did, I looked at him differently. I am close to my sister-in-law and she's a very good woman, so I was conflicted about why my brother would do that. He and my sister-in-law have 2 beautiful kids and he ruined their family for what reason? At what cost? It's disrespectful and selfish that he did this. He came up with excuses saying that it wasn't his fault. Yeah, I bet it wasn't an accident, dude. He said that it's in a man's nature to want other women and to feel a rush. Wow, he can really say the dumbest things. That's unbelievable. No, you're not the a-hole, OP. He sucks. I'm not helping him out one bit. He raised his kids so he knows what to do. I'm not gonna baby him because he's a grown man. I know my sister-in-law is going through a lot. I was the first person that she called and it was hurtful to hear her cry. My brother was messing with another woman for some years that I don't even know, and surprised that he had another child with that woman. What? Cheating has to be the most hurtful thing. Never wish that on anybody. My sister-in-law and my brother are still married but live in different houses. They have to finalize it for all of this to be done with. I don't even know what to do in this situation. He's basically a single dad, and it will be official after the divorce. I'm pissed with my brother, and the whole family is, and rightfully so. Now he has to take care of another baby, and that's what caused this conflict between us. Supposedly the mother of his child isn't picking up any calls, and I'm not surprised. What did he expect the outcome to be? He went on a rant telling me that he didn't know what to do, and the mum wouldn't answer the phone. I told him to leave me alone because it was his fault. Am I the a-hole? No, not even a little bit, OP. That's so revolting, and he made that choice. Now he can face the consequences. And the audacity for him to say that it wasn't his fault? What are you talking about, dude? Oh no, it was an accident, I promise. It's not my fault. Yeah, it is your fault. Of course it is. And no, you're not the a-hole for what you said to him, OP. The top comment says, not the a-hole, you were right. I'll try to support sister-in-law. She's probably going to be ostracized unfairly, and her kids deserve to know the paternal side of the family, even if their dad is a failure. Yeah, 100%. OP said, yeah, of course. I already let her know that she can come to me for anything. This comment says, he said that it wasn't his fault. He said it's in a man's nature to want other women and to feel a rush. Lol, he had a baby with his affair partner, which is not his fault. Lol, I can't even. I like to think that my stupid radar would alert me to people who believe stuff like this, but who knows? Wow though, he sounds like an awful person, and he sure created a well-deserved and difficult set of problems for himself. Yeah, and that's a good point too. You did this to yourself, dude. Oh no, it's not my fault. Yeah, this comment, oh no, if it isn't the consequences of his actions, so sad. Anyway, what's for dinner? Yeah, like where do you get off, dude? This comment too, not the a-hole. When will this BS if it's in a man's nature to want other women and to feel a rush finally die out? As sentient and usually called intelligent beings, we have the ability to control our urges. That includes something like this. And then he was cheating for years and even has a child with his affair partner. And now once she found out, he's surprised that she doesn't answer his calls. Was he always this delusional? Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, and this comment too, not the a-hole. He's not even regretful. Support her. He deserves no pity. Yeah, completely. You're so not the a-hole, OP. And that's enough for today. That was such a wild episode. I'm so ready to read something wholesome after what we've read today. I hope you guys had a wonderful time today, and definitely let me know down below if you did. I've got a wholesome meme to show you before I go. Nobody cares, in the best way possible. You're free to mess up and learn and grow. Yeah, and how awesome is that? I used to think that when I started the YouTube channel, because like everybody who starts a YouTube channel isn't very good on camera or very good at making videos to start with, and I was super worried about it too, and being bad on camera and all that sort of stuff. But guess what? Nobody cares. And nobody did care, in the best way possible. And that's such a beautiful thing too. Yeah, that's so awesome, and I feel like it's so good to remember that too. Like, have fun, do what you want to do. Don't worry about being judged and stuff like that. What a beautiful place to end today's episode. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful time today. And if you did, make sure you let me know down below, and also like and subscribe if you want to. And the comment of the day today, goes to Alchemy Dog. I got so absorbed into the stories, but also watching the baby panda trying so hard hard to get out with his tiny little flips until he finally got free again. Such a little escape artist. His parents looked so concerned too. Yeah, the look on the parents' face when the panda got out was so sad. Like, oh no, come back my baby. But yeah, how cute is that little panda? I love the Minecraft animals and I'm so happy that you guys do too. We've had cute ones on the screen all episode and they definitely helped. Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you for all the support, everybody. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And you know what I'm about to say because I say it every single day. Bye!